A brutal crime committed in the shadows. A cold case completely closed by the police. And a terrifying secret that just refused to stay buried.
In 1983, a man was brutally murdered in the streets of Agra, India. The killers vanished into the night, absolutely certain they had gotten away with it. But 5 years later, he came back to testify.
So let's set the scene. It's the evening of August 28, 1983. A successful businessman named Suresh drives his white Fiat up to his house. He honks his horn, and instantly 2 assassins waiting in the shadows open fire, shooting him in the right side of the head. The police eventually just closed the case. Now, flash forward just a few months later, a baby boy named Titu Singh is born in a rural village about 17 kilometers away. Everything seems completely normal, until 1985, when the toddler begins to speak.
Part 1. The toddler's past life.
By the time little Titu was 2 years old, his parents weren't exactly celebrating his first words. Honestly, they were terrified of them. I mean, the whole village was whispering that the boy was possessed. Out of nowhere, he would just cry inconsolably, look right at the parents raising him and say, "My real parents are in Agra. I just came here and I want to go to my real home." He completely rejected his village family, insisting his actual name was Suresh and that he owned a bungalow and an electronic shop called Suresh Radios.
And it came with this bizarre adult-like behavior. Titu was a child born into a relatively poor village, but he'd actually mock his own mother's clothes. He'd tell her, "My wife wears 2,000 rupee saris. Don't go out in that dirty dhoti." He would aggressively pack his tiny clothes like a grown man preparing for a business trip, threatening to leave because, he was used to traveling in his own car, not walking.
The level of detail here was just staggering for a toddler. This 5-year-old child was accurately naming a wife, Uma. He named 2 sons, he named a father, he demanded his white Fiat car, and most disturbingly of all, he described exactly how he died, shot in the head by 2 men while driving home from work, followed by his body being taken to the cremation ground. Part 2. Testing the reincarnation.
So where on earth was this highly specific information coming from? Well, Titu's older brother, Ashok, decided he had to travel to Agra to find out. Astonishingly, when he arrived, his eyes landed on a sign that made his blood run absolutely cold: Suresh Radios. He went in, met a widow named Uma, and told her the impossible things his little brother was saying. To truly test these unbelievable claims, Suresh's family traveled out to the village and brought young Titu back to Agra for 3 impossible tests: the car route, the shop layout, and identifying his own children.
He passed every single test. Seriously. While driving through Agra, Suresh's brothers intentionally sped past the electronics shop just to try and trick him. But little Titu immediately yelled from the back seat, "Stop, stop! My shop was back there!" Once they got inside, he pointed out exactly which parts of the shop had been renovated since his death. And that final test, Titu walked right up to a massive crowd of neighborhood kids playing outside and easily, without hesitation, picked his 2 sons out of the crowd.
As you can imagine, the family dynamic this created was heartbreaking. When Titu first saw Suresh's parents, he ran straight to them, hugged them, and yelled, "Look, my parents have arrived." He treated the elderly man as his true father, but when he looked at Suresh's widow, Uma, the 5-year-old boy became incredibly shy. He acted like an adult husband, gesturing for her to sit beside him, and he even recalled a private conversation they had at a fair, a secret literally only Suresh and Uma knew.
Part 3. The courtroom climax.
Now, this mind-bending phenomenon caught the attention of leading global experts on reincarnation from the University of Virginia, who actually noted that his aggressive, adult-like temperament perfectly matched Suresh's. But the story was about to escalate from a fascinating scientific study into a full-blown criminal investigation, because the child named his own killer. Titu revealed that on the night of the murder, he had seen the face of the man who shot him, a fellow businessman. Armed with this, frankly, impossible testimony, police brought the suspect in, and under intense interrogation, the man finally broke down and confessed. The 1983 cold case was reopened, and a 5-year-old boy was called to the witness stand.
And this brings us to what has to be the most staggering piece of evidence presented in court. If you compare the autopsy report for the murdered Suresh with the young boy, it's chilling. When they shaved Titu's hair back, they found 2 distinct birthmarks perfectly matching the exact size, shape, and location of the entry and exit bullet wounds that killed Suresh. Based on these medical records, the scientific research, and the confession itself, the court made history.
Part 4. The 2 lives.
The verdict here was completely unprecedented.
The supernatural and the judicial had collided in an actual court of law. The killers were finally convicted, and justice was served, essentially from beyond the grave. But after the gavel fell, a really somber reality set in. The families made a deeply painful decision to stay apart. Having already suffered the agonizing pain of losing a child to a bullet, Suresh's parents absolutely refused to inflict that exact same grief on Titu's village parents. So Titu returned to his village to live his life.
Today, the boy who lived 2 lives is actually known by his real name, Dr. Titu Singh. He grew up carrying these heavy, dual memories of both his childhood and his past life, eventually becoming a highly educated and very successful assistant professor. He actually still occasionally visits his past life family in Agra. He believes you can't live a double life forever, the past is the past, but he remains living proof of a history we barely even understand.
This incredible case forces us to just pause and ask a question that challenges absolutely everything we think we know about life and death. Is life just a straight line, ending in a sudden stop? Or is it a circle, where the end is really just another beginning?
This moment didn't just change the past for 2 families, it completely shattered our understanding of reality. Follow for more hidden history stories, and let me know in the comments what mystery we should cover in our next explainer.